Hi everyone, meteorologist Emery here in the Fox 19 First Alert Streaming Center here on this Thursday or Friday Eve, depending on how ready you are for the weekend. And we've got some updates with regards to the drought conditions in the tri-state as well as the weekend forecast. Some slight changes with that, all coming up here in just a couple of minutes. So hi everyone, meteorologist Emery here. We're live wherever you stream. We're live on the 24/7 weather streaming channel. We're live on Fox19.com and the Fox 19 News and First Alert weather apps. We're live on YouTube. Eventually you'll be able to make comments and questions there. But right now the only way to get your questions answered or chime in and have a conversation is on Facebook, both the Fox 19 Facebook page as well as my Facebook page at Emery WX. Speaking of which, here I am, and it's Thursday. It's the lunch hour. Hopefully you're having a good start to your day, or at least the first half to your day was off to a good start. And let's hope that continues here this afternoon. So I want to begin with the drought monitor because this is some great news. This came from the U.S. Drought Monitor. They collect this data Tuesday morning, and then it gets published Thursday mornings. And so last week's drought monitor did not reflect the rain that had fallen on that Monday and Tuesday of last week. And of course, did account for the rain that had fallen from the remnants of Helene. And because of that, significant changes, great changes to see. Now, doesn't mean we're out of the woods yet, but it did help significantly. You can still see there are extreme drought conditions up towards Columbus, towards Grove City, also towards Athens, towards MacArthur, if you're familiar with that area, southeast Ohio, and then also towards Cambridge, Newark, dealing with extreme to even exceptional drought conditions still, despite the fact that they also saw some rain. But fortunately for us here in the Fox 19 Now viewing area, the most we have right now is moderate drought conditions, which extends from portions of Dearborn County, northern portions of Boone County, much of Hamilton County, much of Butler County, much of Warren County, and then northern Claremont and Brown County, northern Highland County, and then all of Clinton County under a moderate drought. And in much, the tri-state is under abnormally dry conditions, which means it's not a drought per se or drought conditions. It's just, hey, this place could see moderate drought conditions in the near future. But you can see this big hole here in our southeastern counties towards West Union, Maysville, Vanceburg, Mount Orab, down to Mount Olivet, and also towards Brooksville, Kentucky. And Georgetown, Ripley, all those spots do not have any conditions. Well, that's really good to see that. And excuse me. For those of you who might be curious, there are no burn bans in effect for anywhere in southeast Indiana, of course. Most counties I think all counties actually in northern Kentucky, no longer under burn bans. And then in Ohio, based on what the Ohio State Fire Marshal had declared the last several weeks, any county that's under extreme drought conditions are automatically in a countywide burn ban all the time. I have not seen a release yet from the state fire marshal for the state of Ohio, but one could assume that the county burn bans have been lifted. That being said, both the state of Ohio and Kentucky do have burn bans this time of year, and I believe it's from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'm going to do some graphics and kind of have some information on that. I haven't had a chance to do that this morning, but you might want to reach out to your local fire department or emergency manager for that information. But the good news is the drought monitor does look very much improved here in the Fox 19 Now viewing area. The view also looks improved as well, considering the fact that it's been sunny here this morning. We had some areas of patchy fog. The camera lens shows a little bit of fog there, but temperatures here at the lunch hour, 70 degrees. So already warming up in those low 70s here this hour in Cincinnati. Other locations in the Fox 19 Now viewing area, most of us still in the 60s. You can see there we got 68 towards Harrison, 68 into Lebanon, also at the Lunken Airport, also down into Falmouth, 69 up in Middletown, and those low 70s for Wilmington, Hamilton, Batavia, Batesville, even at 72 here this hour. 71 in Hamilton and 70 over at CVG. The dew points, the measure of the moisture in the air, still looking pretty good. Mid-50s out there. So that dry, comfortable air mass over top of us, but Of course, with nighttime temperatures getting really close to the dew point, you have dew development. And I know this morning I woke up to a lot of dew in Milford on my car, on the grass, on my door. It looked like it looked like a steam room had occurred in my room. All I did was just walk out there, and it was just because my apartment was really warm. But outside was so cool, and the dew had developed all over my window of my door. So it was quite a dewy start to the day. And I think we'll see dew and fog once again tonight, as well as for tomorrow morning here in the Tri-State. And the winds are looking pretty light. The winds will be light for us this afternoon, too. And today's forecast, we're looking at temperatures on the rise to the mid to upper 70s. So a few degrees warmer than yesterday. And you'll see here that we are looking at that high up to 77 degrees this afternoon. So again, abundant sunshine, 5 degrees above normal for this time of the year. And again, a lot of sunshine here this afternoon and this evening. And if you're traveling across the Tri-State and across the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley regions, well, we are looking at temperatures in those mid to upper 70s from Columbus, Indianapolis, Lexington, the low 80s towards Charleston, West Virginia, and 83 down into Nashville. Looking at our forecast model here, we are going to be looking at, again, dry conditions through the next couple of days. Apologies for the mic delays there. I had a couple of sneeze fits happen there. But we're going to be staying dry for the next few days. Now, we do have a chance of rain, I think, Sunday evening into Sunday night, but I don't look at it to be of any issue or even much of anything. In fact, models are trending drier as we get closer to that point. So this is Friday. Friday, we have a little wave of energy moving through. It's what we call a trough, mid-level of the atmosphere. Kind of acts kind of like a cold front, but doesn't bring in the cool air. It just has some energy with it that could bring in some clouds, maybe a chance of rain, but not for us in this situation, as it does look like it'll stay dry. Now Sunday, let's go back a little bit here because there is the potential for shower activity Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. But notice that this thing's pretty weak Sunday early afternoon. But we go into Sunday evening, it does try to elongate and develop southward. I think that if anybody sees rain chances on Sunday evening, it's going to be our far eastern counties. And I don't suspect there to be any chance for anything really strong out of this. Not looking at anything severe. I think breezy winds are not out of the question, though, for Sunday. In fact, I want to see if our wind gust graphic will indicate that here in the Tri-State. So give me just a moment. I'll go ahead and pull that up here. All right, this graphic should reach out to Sunday once it loads. It's going to play it out Thursday, Friday, Saturday looking pretty light with the winds. Let's see if it goes to Sunday. Really close. Oof. Well, okay, so it does show gusts on Sunday early afternoon, maybe 25, close to 30 miles per hour. It looks like 30 miles per hour up towards Connorsville, over towards Batesville, Hamilton even. Getting close to that range. So, yeah, so Sunday still looks a little breezy at times. So for the game, hopefully Evan McPherson's on his A game with the kicks because with the winds, you're going to need to get that trajectory just right to deal with those winds gusting. And if you're curious, the winds on Sunday do look to be coming in out of the south and west at this point because it's warm air. It's going to bring in some warm air advection here to the Tri-State. What I mean by that is just, well, like I said, the warmer air moving in. But it won't be here for it won't be here for a long period. So that's Sunday. We go into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We are looking at temperatures getting a bit milder. So highs will be generally in the upper 60s and low 70s here to the tri-state. So we are looking at definitely a mild forecast for next week. Seasonable at that. Again, highs in the upper 60s and low 70s. So here is that 7-day forecast. We got a high of 77 for your Thursday, 78 for your Friday. We've lowered temperatures a little bit for both Friday and Saturday, partially due to the fact that, the winds will be fairly light in the morning, but it's going to be pretty cool, enough for those conditions to have to overcome that. But Saturday up to 76. We got the FC Cincinnati match coming up. That'll be a big game. So looking fine for that. The Bengals game, again, a slight evening chance. Can't rule out maybe some breezy gusts up to 30 miles per hour. And the warmest day, no doubt, 83. But then next week, we got a high of 70 for your Monday, 68 Tuesday, 69 by Wednesday of next week. And I will say I haven't had a chance to update the 14-day forecast, but I will say that going into the middle of the month of October, I do suspect to see temperatures anywhere from the mid to upper 60s to the low to mid 70s. So kind of in that range. Nothing too drastic. I think we're done with 90s, to be completely honest with you. And 80s, well, it's kind of too, I don't want to say we're done with 80s just yet, but I think that the days are obviously numbered for 80s, but I think we're done with 90s for those of you curious. But we do fall into a dry pattern. So after Sunday, I think we're going to stay dry for the next several days. So that drought monitor will continuously need to be looked at and updated. It's only updated once a week, but we need to update those conditions at least, the very least, here in the tri-state. And for tonight into tomorrow morning, we do have patchy fog moving in. So let's go ahead and play that out. So and this model is really pessimistic on that, but we could have some fog, kind of similar to how it was last night into this morning. Nothing that's going to be, to the point where it's widespread for everybody, but river valleys certainly could see this affect them. So the Ohio River down to our south and east, those areas, in fact, I believe had a fog advisory this morning. The Licking River could very well have some patchy, dense fog develop there. And then maybe some of that fog over towards the Little Miami and Great Miami rivers can also not be ruled out in this case. One thing I was wanting to build, but again, I just didn't have the chance to build it just by looking at some of the forecast data, because when you do weather, you got to look at all the different aspects of that. It takes time to develop a good forecast. And I know the forecast is pretty quiet, but you still want to know those little things. Fog development, wind direction. Will that affect highs and lows? Stuff like that. But one thing I did want to bring up is tonight we could see the northern lights. That is not out of the question. So in fact, let me try to pull up the graphics I want to show. Although it may not be accurate at this moment. So this is, as long as this looks like it's accurate, I'll play it through real quick and let's see if it works. So the Northern Lights forecast for tonight, this is actually fairly close. So we could see, obviously you got to look north, Northern Lights, it's in the name, but look towards the horizon, look into an area where there's not as much light pollution, there's not a lot of city lights. The best areas to look with less light pollution would be over towards Mason County, Kentucky, Lewis County, Kentucky, Adams County, Ohio, Highland County, Ohio, and even in the portions of Clinton County, Ohio. Those areas are some of your best spots for the minimal amount of light pollution. Southeast Indiana, believe it or not, there are a lot of areas of light pollution. There are some areas with, like maybe Franklin County towards the Brookville Lake area, you might get away with seeing some of those stars. You might be able to see a little bit, but your best is there's a lot of resources out there to look for maps with the least light pollution, and that could help you out. And the fact that skies will be clear tonight will give you the best opportunities. Now, that being said, there will be some fog development that could obstruct your view, so keep that in mind. And since we're discussing this, I do want to look at the Facebook comments and questions before we go any further. Susan, hi Ethan, saying also you're having a great day. You as well, Susan. Susan also saying heard maybe some cooler weather next week. Yeah, absolutely. Some cooler weather next week. Highs will be in the upper 60s and generally the low to mid 70s. And then lows will be in the 40s and low 50s. Katie, what are you hunting about? Is it the northern lights? Is it the 7-day forecast? Let me know. Look at my Facebook page real quick at Ethan Emery WX. Jeff says, hi Ethan, drough's looking much better here, so happy out in Hillsboro. Although Jeff's saying the reservoirs in Hillsboro don't look much different. Yeah, that's the long-term effects of a drought. But the good news is that the soils can at least take in the moisture a little bit easier. So the forecast is pretty dry the next several days. That's something that's going to be bear watching. Laura asking what day, if you're regarding to the northern lights tonight into tomorrow morning, we could see the northern lights. There's no guarantee. This is a very, forecasting northern lights is very last minute and oftentimes very, a little thing can make a big difference with these. I'll be upfront and say that I have not studied space weather as much as I have other weather. Obviously, I'm a meteorologist, so I have studied atmospheric sciences, but northern lights are something that is a lot more astronomy related. But this is for tonight. Garnett asking which direction should we look to see the lights? It's in the name. North. You want to look north. So I would say late tonight after 11 o'clock would be an opportunity to see the northern lights through Friday early morning. Again, fog might be a little bit of an issue with this. So, keep that in mind. And of course, we'll update you here this afternoon. Catherine Bodak, Steve Horsemeyer, giving you the forecast on the air on Fox 19. We'll be talking about that too. So looking at the 7-day forecast here, we've got temperatures in the mid to upper 70s both today and tomorrow. Again, there's some fog development late tonight into tomorrow morning. It won't be widespread, but we could see some areas of dense fog, mainly in river valleys, especially in the portions of northern Kentucky and also to areas east and southwest Ohio. And then Friday afternoon, a high of 78, a lot of sunshine. Then Saturday, mostly sunny and 76. Can't rule out an evening chance on Sunday, but most of the tri-state will be dry. Partly cloudy conditions. Sunday will also be breezy. That's something I probably will be adding to the 7-day just because it's warranted. It'll be warm too, 83 for your Sunday. And then next week, as folks have been commenting, yes, it will be cooler. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, highs will be in the upper 60s, near 70 degrees, with morning lows in the mid to upper 40s. So, nice, full, cool autumn chill in the air. It's going to feel really, really nice. And beyond the 7-day forecast, like I've said, I haven't fully upgraded those numbers. I don't want to show you old data, but it does look like highs will generally be in the low to mid 70s overall, with morning lows hovering around 50. So we are looking at a dry forecast for the next several days, even beyond the 7-day forecast, but temperatures will be on the mild side. Average highs going into the next several days will generally be in the upper 60s and low 70s. So we're going to be very close to normal, aside from a few days, those being today, tomorrow, and the weekend. So that is the forecast. All right, got a couple more comments, and then we'll go ahead and close things off here because we got to get ready for Now and the Natty coming up at 12:30. Garnett says, Dell, on my behalf, it's okay. People ask that often. People often hear Aurora Borealis, and they're like, where do we look? And then the term Northern Lights comes about, same thing. So Northern Lights, you want to look north? Yeah, and Garnett says they have a hill in front of their house, so that can be a challenge. In this region, topography can really make a challenge on a lot of different things. Susan says that you're very happy. Yes, the cooler weather is definitely something that makes you feel good. Makes me feel good. I like fall. My favorite season. Can't you tell I'm wearing orange? Because of the Bengals, but also because pumpkins. With my gut, I probably look like a pumpkin. All right, we're going to close things off. I think I've got all the comments and questions answered. So that's 7-day forecast. Of course, want to remind you, you can always get that forecast on the Fox 19 First Alert Weather app on fox19.com/weather, and of course on the 24/7 weather streaming channel. And coming up at 3 o'clock, meteorologist Catherine Bodak will give you more updates on the Northern Lights for potentially tonight. And then also that weekend forecast, which does show some warmer weather as well as that chance for maybe a sprinkle light shower, and your Bengals game day forecast all coming up beginning at 3 on Fox 19. So thank you all so much for joining us here on this Thursday edition of 19 at Noon. I want to remind you that on Friday, it will be meteorologist Catherine Bodak doing 19 at Noon. I will be filling in for Steve late tomorrow night. So you'll see me tomorrow on the 7:15 weekday evening weather show right here, wherever you stream. So that'll do it. Thank you all so much for joining us. Have a wonderful Thursday afternoon.